obviously a difficult evening. Started, reasonably well first half, now keeping them out. But what's your overall assessment of the whole game and performance, and what have you said to the players in there after that?
Yes, I think it's fair to say that Arsenal deserved to win this game today. They were the better side. They deserved also to win this game with a good, proper goal difference. I'm not sure if it was actually a 5-0 because, yes, 5 shots on target and they scored out of all these 5 shots. Long story short, it's more like when a team like Arsenal is on it, and it's a team who was probably in the last 3 years the best team in whole of Europe, at least in consistency. You could argue with title winners anyhow, but no other team has shown this consistency, always ending up as a runner-up. Then it's always difficult. Of course, you wish for this fixture be after the Champions League game, perhaps, but if it's on their first home game during the season when everyone is fully on it, on the back after, for them, an important win away at Man United, then the whole new signings are there. Even before kick-off, new signings are present. The whole stadium is buzzing. They are on it. It's always a difficult game then for a newly promoted side. I think you could feel this in the first 10 minutes. They were all over us. We were a bit nervous, but we survived this period without giving one chance away. And then we got a foot into the game, got more and more confident, had good situations also about counter-attacks, and also with Daniel James, with a few set pieces. I think after 35 minutes we had probably the best chance in the game with Pascal Stoic's header and a fantastic save of Raya. Yes, and a bit annoying how we conceded the goals, because 2 goals out of set pieces 2 times, more or less in the same way. Timber in between my strongest headers. Would have wished for a bit more awareness level. And obviously also 2 goals 2 times in added time. First half, after promising win of the ball, we're looking on the counter-attack. We're underestimating their counter-pressing of Rice, and then they scored, I would say, also out of a bit difficult angle. And then obviously also the 5-0, the same, promising winning of the ball, underestimate the counter-attack. They also scored in added time with a penalty. I haven't watched it back, looked a bit soft if I'm honest, but if for such a team like Arsenal, everything comes together more or less, and they are on it and they are effective and score out of 5 shots on target, 5 goals. It's always difficult, and for that, it's not a season-defining game for us. We accept that they were better today. They deserve to win this game, and for us, it's not a season-defining game. We are disappointed today, but we won't overanalyze this game too much. Yes, there were 1 or 2 things that we could have done better. Yes, there's no doubt about this. Otherwise, we wouldn't have conceded 2 times at a time and 2 set pieces, but apart from this, not a season-defining game for us.
How important is it that the players don't get too down about it? Because obviously it's not a season-defining game, and obviously you got a brilliant start on Monday night, and obviously when you lose 5-5, it can have a big effect. But is that what's been your message to the players about that sort of thing?
Yes, also difficult for them because we have not lost 1 game in pre-season. We have not lost, I think, 1 loss in the last 30 last season. We're not used to lose a football game, especially also not with such a result. But we wanted to play in the best league in the world, and if you play in the best league in the world against the best sides, you have to accept that days like this could happen, and then you don't have to dwell on it, and you have to move on. And what I liked also during the game, after the 4-0, sometimes you fall apart, and then everyone is playing his own game, and the body language is bad anyhow, and you are down. No, we stick together also with the new substitutions, and we didn't allow them after the 4-0 more chances. It was more the other way around. We nearly get the foot back, perhaps with the consolidation goal. It was always clear that we would lose this game, but I quite like that we showed this mentality and didn't fall apart. For that, I feel a bit for the players that we then allowed, sadly, this unnecessary loss of the ball and conceded a soft penalty in the 93rd or 94th minute was a bit unnecessary. But also the feeling during this period, and then also the unity together with our supporters, I think they had a good feeling today that yes, it was just a bit too much. So it was not like mentality or character or the fight. It was just that it was one of those days when, the opponent was just better, and we have to accept this. So the unity together with our supporters in the end of the game, I think this says a lot, and this is what we take out of this game, but not too much analysing of this stuff.
You knew that Joel was going to be quite isolated today when you were defending deep at periods. Why did you choose Joel over Lucas, who we probably agree is slightly more physical, maybe a better hold-up man against Gabriel and Saliba?
Yes, because of course we also wanted to keep the ball a bit better, because if you just defend, it's also difficult against Arsenal, and also the workload of Joel Pirot, and also the fact that against AC Milan, against Villarreal, and also against Everton, against really good sides, we have played with him, and he has played proper games, and we were unbeaten in this games, and for that we decided then to play him. Lucas, of course, has a bit different strength, and you could see that he's, of course, a bit more physical and in order to be there. But to be honest, also against Gabriel and Saliba is also difficult. Also for Lucas, perhaps to hold the ball, perhaps even a bit better. I think for each and every striker, it would have been difficult today, and it was, to be fair. And for that, no complaints about any of the performance of my two strikers.
Is it an impossible job working out whether to go short with Lucas or long with Lucas Perry, when Arsenal are both good at pressing you high when you're playing short, or, as I've just said, going long to Joel and possibly just giving the ball straight back? I mean, how do you solve a problem like that?
To mix it up, we of course try to play short, and we have our principles also how we overplay a high pressing. But once a team, and for me also in terms of the intensity of the pressing and the counter pressing, Arsenal is probably one of the best teams in the world, and they put pressure on you, and then the first one or two processes doesn't work, then the confidence goes a bit down, especially also for a new signing. Then you mix it a bit up and go for a bit more pragmatic approach. We have then also played a few more balls into a compact block, but yes, if on the other side then there's also Saliba and Gabriel who win more or less each every header, it's also difficult. So whatever you choose, this is why Arsenal has won so many points in all of their last 3 seasons here. It's so difficult. It's more or less like to find good solutions. Yeah, today we choose a bit more often than we would normally do for the pragmatical one, because we didn't want to lose the ball too early, too close to our own goal, and that was the reason we mixed it then a bit more up with more long balls than perhaps we would normally do.
Daniel, does a result like this impact your transfer thoughts going forward? I'm guessing from your comment probably not.
No, because we know we can have 1 or 2 more signings, and hopefully we will have also 1 or 2 more signings. But I don't think with 1 more, whatever winger or fullback or whatever we choose, is more like it would have been a different outcome for us. So as the newly promoted side, there are teams who have better individual quality. And on days like this, when they are on it and everything is also a bit against you, and you concede even out of set pieces, then of course it's the best set piece side in the world. I think Man United was also aware, but they also couldn't avoid a loss by set pieces last week. It's always difficult. Yeah? You need that everything comes together as a newly promoted side to have a chance, and for that they were too good today, and we played a bit into their cards with the goals and added time a little bit. So I would have preferred, of course, perhaps to go into a halftime with 1-0 just back, keep the game tight, and in the end to take more risk. But if you take too much risk against the Arsenal side, it's also difficult. I think with 1 or 2 more signings, we wouldn't have changed the outcome of this game today.
Thank you. Largely wasn't in the squad today. Was that purely down to numbers, or could he leave the club before the end of the transfer?
No, it was just due down to the decision. Was a decision for Noah Okafor, not against Largy, because obviously Billy Gnonto has played well in the last game. It was always clear that he would start on this position. We had a bit more solid defensive worker, like with Jack Harrison there, who can, of course, at the moment when we are a bit thin on fullbacks, also play on the fullback position. And we had the offensive spark with Noah on the bench, and he had a good preseason with Milan, has played many minutes for them, also was involved in the last game day, has already a bit more minutes under his belt. It was not a decision against Largy, it was more a decision for Noah.
Stuart? Daniel, you say you won't overanalyse this, but for the boys who are new to the Premier League, what do you think they'll have learned today?
I think a lot out of the first 10-15 minutes, because the intensity and the speed of the game is on a different level in comparison to everything what they have experienced in the Championship, or perhaps our signings on Bundesliga, a fantastic league as well, but not when the Premier League sides are really on it, also in terms of physicality. So this is good to have this first experience out of the way. Of course, we have played good opponents also in pre-season with AC Milan, Villarreal. Had also a strong opponent on the first game day, but this intensity and the speed of the game was today on a completely different level. And yes, for that we have to step up if we want to be competitive on this on this level. But again, away games at Arsenal and or Man City or Liverpool won't define our season. If we can sometimes win here and there a point, yeah, great. But the 38 points that we need, the 1 point average that we need to survive in this league, we have to win other games. And for that, yes, it was not a free hit today. Of course, we wanted to go for it and want the best possible outcome. But sometimes you have to accept also that the opponent is too strong, and then don't dwell on that and don't overanalyze it.
As you alluded to, you've got players who played in the Bundesliga, who played in Serie A and so on. Is the Premier League just on another level to these leagues nowadays in terms of that intensity particularly?
I think so. It's for me the best league in the world. That doesn't mean that all the Premier League teams just win each and every European title. Otherwise, they would do this each and every year in the Champions League or in the Europa League. So there are also sometimes other winners. But overall, I think it's fair to say the best managers, the best players, the best teams, the best clubs are working in the Premier League, and we know it's the best league in the world. And for that, yes, we wanted to play there. Yeah, if we are not willing, then sometimes to accept that you suffer also a night like this. We should have stayed in the championship there, because there we win more or less each and every game, and everything is easy, and we can celebrate a lot ourselves. We want to compete with the best teams in the world and also grow. That hopefully in a few years we're also competitive on this level. But we know as newly promoted side, we have to stay humble, have to stay grounded, and we have to keep going also after a night like this.
Yeah, more further?
How serious is the injury? Is that the right knee or?
Yes, after tackling the first half, he's got some problems with his MCL, and he kept going. I hope it's not too bad. I hope the assessment is not too bad, but there are a few concerns that there would be an injury. But normally positive that he could play further on. We have to assess him, and we'll see how long it takes to get him back to full fitness.